Welcome to episode 16 of Flock Talk with your boy KiteZz. Here with my lovely wife, It's Just Alex.
What's up, peoples?
Here with my right-hand man of the 2G1A, the voice himself, Mr. 2G1A West.
What up, though?
I would like to thank everybody that came out today. Normally we do Flock Talk on Thursdays, but as you guys know, things happen, blah, blah, blah. We haven't had a lot of time, but we are here today to make sure we do Flock Talk because we are trying to remain consistent with Flock Talk. I don't want Flock Talk to be something that I just suddenly drop. We launched this week the gaming channel. Shout out to the people, the 60 people who joined the gaming channel to support. Hey, appreciate that. We plan on playing a lot of stuff on there, so if you guys got games, you guys are gamers, you guys can probably be on some of these episodes on the gaming channel. But that's all it really is. Anything you would like to say before we get started, my dear wife?
No, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
All right, anything you would like to say, Sir Westside?
I'm slaying monsters with some biscuits right now. I'm just here, baby.
That's crazy.
Shout out to Monster Hunter coming out. That's what I'm going to be on. As soon as I get off this, I'm going straight back to Twitch. I was streaming on Twitch, and that's where I'm going to be. Hey, Nitro Marvis with the $7 blessing to the flock. Yes, sir. The big 7. I appreciate it. Somebody asked Alex, what headset is she wearing?
They're the Razer Kitty Kraken V2. So they come with like swappable, interchangeable ears.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get to what we need to. Let's talk. The run the fade ones. That's crazy. All right. First things first. Pop the balloon or find love. It's the main topic. Let's get it out the way. Episode 44 had just dropped. Our take on it was the title of our video was Frauds All Around. We felt like this episode had a lot of people saying one thing and then doing another thing. Just a lot of fraudulent behaviors through and through. They ended up having, I believe, 3 matches total on this episode, which was good. Some dudes got some, like, I feel like for the most part, the women were cool. There was like 1 or 2 that were really questionable. For the men, I feel like towards the end, the men that were at the end were the men that intentionally put themselves at the end because they were just popping for stupid reasons, except for homeboy in the brown jacket. He unfortunately did not get to, oh snap. Shout out to Big Floridian Rollo with the $5 bomb. I appreciate you. Shout out to Rollo, man. You step it up top notch. Oh yeah, let's go come by to support. I appreciate you, Rollo. Shout out to Big Rollo. He's been doing some great work with Ringo TV and Brainwaves. So shout out to them for all the stuff that they do. Support to their content. Let's all grow on this little space. It's hard out here in these YouTube streets. But
it is.
In this episode, like I said, only 4 guys were left without matches, but it was a lot of returning people to the show. Now, the problem with returners is there's only going to be 2 ways when people return to the show. Either A, they're going to have learned from the mistakes that they made the first time they were on the show, or B, they gonna come back and just double down or get worse. And I feel like this episode was a solid example of somebody who went through something on the show and learned nothing from it. But before I get deeper into that, my lovely wife, what is your take on episode 44 of Pop the Balloon?
Honestly, overall, it wasn't a bad episode, other than like brother in the front, our Jamaican brother, and James, that they really threw me off. James specifically, he threw me off because I didn't understand where this energy change came from. But overall, it was a decent episode. Like a lot of the women, they asked pretty good questions. And I always like seeing returners. I don't know why, but I guess you know what to expect from them. So yeah, it was fine.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Let's first ask the public. If you guys would like to come up and tell us your opinions about episode 44 as a whole, we are now opening the floor for you to come up and talk. If nobody raises their hands, we will just have the conversation. So how did you guys feel about episode 44? If people don't feel like talking, it's all good. I understand. Nitro up first.
What's happening?
How you doing, Nitro?
What up, though?
Man's are blessed,
Yes,
but just in terms of like the overall episode, if that's just what we're on right now, is it was respectable compared to most of the episodes of the past. It seems like, I guess we're calling this the fifth season.
Mm-hmm.
So far it's been better as a whole season compared to 4, 3, 2, and 1. But like we still got some people that slipped through the cracks.
Right.
But it looks like more people are trying. Like I would say, so far this season, a lot more matches. So something changed for sure. Right. So that's what I like about it so far.
Okay. Shout out to Nitro. And Nitro has been given the $7 bombs. We appreciate him. Jules, how did you feel about this episode?
Overall, it was a decent episode. Like you said earlier, a couple people who were just really tweaking. But yeah, that's really about it.
Okay. Shout out to Jules. All right. Armed Swordsman, how did you feel about this episode?
Yeah, so I have to agree with everyone what it was earlier. It was a decent episode. To me, actually, it was, it was kind of boring because after a while, honestly, I was with you guys. I just stopped caring.
We got a couple topics we're going to get to, but let's start off with, I spoke on fraudulent, right? Because we have a smaller group, I feel like it would be better direction for me to lead the conversation as more of like a discussion rather than trying to expect people to come up, which is perfectly fine. We do what we must. So let's talk about it. In our review, the biggest person we kind of put the spotlight on was none other than our friend James. James set me off for the video just because, as I said in the video, my biggest thing is when we band together, right? On James's segment in his other Pop the Balloon, James came on the show and he got popped on because of his voice. People said he didn't establish a strong presence. They said his voice didn't fit him. They said he didn't control the room. He seemed too nervous. They said all these things about him, right? And when James went on the reunion, he talked about all this good stuff, this passionate stuff. Oh, shout out to Squad Princess for the $9.99. I appreciate you. Squad. Appreciate you. James came on there on the reunion, and he was actually the voice of reason on the reunion. I loved James on the reunion. He was saying everything I agree with. And I'm like, bro, James needs to come back and get a second chance. James needs to come back and redeem himself. Who cares if he has a high-pitched voice? It's all about the character. James was having character. And then this episode comes out. This episode comes out and it makes me eat my words like I've never eaten my words before. And I was so furious because it's like, James, we was really vouching for you in these streets and you came on here and made us look a fool. So I'm going to give you guys more context of why I was so angry at James so y'all can see the clip.
All right, let's go over here. Your name and age.
James, I'm 34.
All right, and James, what do you do? I'm a recent law school graduate, and I also do legal consultant work and legal commentary as well.
Okay. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
I think you're very, very pretty. Very nice shoes, very nice dress. Put it together very well. I agree with the brother here to my left. I think that you, and maybe you're just nervous, perhaps you're just nervous, but I just think you need to exude just a little bit more confidence.
Right.
And just kind of mastering the room, mastering the art of, speaking, coming out here and conveying what you're looking for in a guy and things.
Okay.
Also, just the serial entrepreneurs. Every time I hear that, it kind of scares me.
I did not use that word, though.
I could have sworn I heard serial entrepreneur.
No,
but,
not from.
okay.
So, James. Alex, what is your opinion on what you just saw with James?
The audacity, the nerve, the gall. I couldn't even process it because I'm like, James, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Weren't you just in this same situation previously? Amen. Amen.
It's the fact that James, the same things people were saying to him when he came out on stage and how he felt like it was unjustified, he didn't feel like they did it right by him, he flipped around and did it to her. He literally, the same thing that people had to protect him from, he then retaliated and did it to somebody who didn't even do it to him. It's like, how can you, that really makes me mad because I can't stand it when, if I save you from being bullied, right? And I say, I don't like how you're being treated. I don't like how they keep pushing you and taking your backpack and taking your school lunch. I'm standing up for you and I fight your bully. And then the next day I see you bully another kid the same way your bully was bullying you. It's like, bro, you got me messed up, man. They say
that happens quite often though.
Go ahead, you can expand on it.
No, I was just saying, like, when you break it down that way, I feel like that happens quite often. So even though it was like shocking that he did it, it's kind of not that surprising because now he has all the hypocritical. He has like all the like, I guess like confidence or like ammunition to treat others how he was treated. It doesn't make it right, but it happens often.
So, first subject is James' behavior. If you guys want to talk about James and convey your feelings of how you felt about what he did, go ahead and raise your hand. Mod Nitro, come on up. Let's talk about it.
Man, it's almost called me Miles. That's crazy word.
Nah, I said
No,
mod.
he almost called you Mod.
Yeah, I almost called you mod.
I heard that. But anyways, I kind of lost interest in him trying to find love after a while, technically, because of that hypocritical way of thinking that he was dealing with. Him being on the show, then him going on to the reunion, and then coming back right here. I just kind of like, I didn't have any hopes for him or anything, you know what I mean? Because he just came back to spread hate. I don't want to say, hate's a strong word, sorry.
Discourse or
came back to spread dysfunction.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, and yeah. So it was just like, he was wasting a slot. There should have been 8 people up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Shout out to Nitro. Jules, how did you feel about James' behavior?
To quote the great Smiley, he was definitely whooping.
Shout out to Smiley.
Yes, but overall, he was definitely whooping and definitely tweaking. I have no interest of seeing him coming back on the show. And yeah, that's really about it.
Okay. Shout out to Jules. Armed Swordsman, come on up. While Armed Swordsman's coming all up, Miss Price said that's called a hypocrite. True. Keisha Char said it seemed like he wanted to get back and the stuff has to stop. Stop punishing people that haven't done you wrong. True. And Zero says, I hope James watches this and takes a moment to think about how ridiculous he was. I doubt it. That's one thing I noticed about a lot of these Pop the Balloon people when they go on the show. Because they see the first couple negative comments, they just write off that all criticism or all people calling them out is just straight hate. They don't care about the message of it. So I feel it.
Yeah.
TKC said he probably just wanted popularity from being on the show. Most likely. Demetrius said, all this time I thought James was a cool dude. I didn't like how he told Shucky she was soft-spoken, but he's also soft-spoken. Like, bruh, come on. That's what I'm saying. The same stuff people were calling you out for, now you're doing it. Like, come on, bruh. Orange Swordsman, go ahead. How did you feel about James's behavior?
Yeah, 100% agree. It just seems to me that he was lost in the sauce, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like people say, when you're on the lineup, it comes with a different power than when you're the one walking out. So, you know, he first experienced the walking out, and now he's on the line. He's the one with the power per se, right? And he just got lost in that, you know? Because I say, what great power comes great responsibility, and power corrupts, and absolute power absolutely corrupts. So that's what it seems like to me.
Okay. No, shout out to you. All right, we got Squaw Princess, Miss Squaw, and then we got L Dragon after. Hey fam, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Miss Price said they take no accountability. Yep, accountability is such a difficult word to like even stand up to, because people just they hear like somebody call out something that they did and they just gotta run from it. Squaw, go ahead, talk your talk.
Okay, so I'm disappointed in James, simply because it took me back. I guess I have PTSD. It took me back to something that I went through as a kid. I remember in the 5th grade, I befriended this girl who had cancer, and she came to school with. In the beginning, she still had her hair and everything, and the teacher explained to the class what was going on. And at first, everyone was like, oh, you know, we're your friends or whatever. But as time went by, she started losing her hair. So she would wear a baseball cap to school. And she lost friends. And I mean, at that time, I was kind of like, I didn't have friends either. I was bullied and whatnot in school. So I took the opportunity. Okay, I'm going to be her friend because, you know, both of us are in the same situation. Well, the end of that school year came. And then, of course, we had summer. When we went back to school, which was 6th grade, we ended up in a couple of classes in middle school. And her hair has grown back. She beat the cancer, and I found out that she wasn't my friend anymore. Because now she has hair, and now she looks normal, and now the same people that bullied us both, she's friends with. So that, I mean, that just made me think of that instantly. Like, dude, weren't you just on the other side of this? And now you're becoming the bully. So it gives me like coward feels. Like I just feel like he just graduated law school, and he might have a future for him or whatnot. But it's so sad because to me, he's a coward. He's a follower. He's not a leader. And it might be a small thing, you know, it's not like he went out and robbed somebody or killed somebody, but that type of attitude, that type of behavior, it says a lot about a person, even though it may be deemed as small. It says a lot about a person. Will you be able to stand in my corner? Absolutely not. You know, I wouldn't trust someone like that.
Right.
So that's all I had to say about it.
No, that was a great take, and I'm sorry that happened, but I think that's something that happens in life, which is so I never understood that. It's like people seek validation from the people that ostracize them or push them out so badly that as soon as they get some type of praise or adoration from these same people, they're willing to just jump head over heels and forget about the people that were helping them up. And it's just that's really just, it's sad. It's a sad reality. But I feel what you're saying, Squad. El Dragon.
Sometimes people can't cope with the fact that people don't like them.
It's a very sad but true situation. The person who's being bullied eventually becomes the bully. And I feel like James, he kind of disappointed me as well as you guys, I would assume. As much as y'all say this, it's actually true. The person who is on the lineup has the power, and the person who's walking out doesn't have that type of power. They're the one who's under the anxiety and the pressure of being judged per se. And I feel like if anyone on that lineup, and that specific lineup, should understand that, it would have been James. So I would expect him to be a little bit more graceful with the young lady, as someone who has been in the lineup and who has been judged, who has been judged based on his voice, and for him to come and do the same exact thing to her is kind of hypocritical and very disappointing. So that's it.
You can go ahead, man. Hey, it's a small group, man. You can talk. You can talk more. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even policing nobody.
Yeah, there's no point in policing. It's
okay.
Free. Talk how you talk.
Okay, so the thing with James is that I honestly don't know what happened with him, because I would have thought that he would have learned from his mistakes and do better. And for some reason, he decided to go this route. Especially not only being on the show, on the episode, but being on the reunion. He seems like this kind of upsetting guy who would stand up for people who does certain things, and for him to do the exact same thing, I just don't. It's kind of hard for me to understand where he's coming from, especially since the reason he popped his balloon was because he couldn't hear her, or he said that he said that she was soft-spoken, right?
He basically here, I can play it back for you. I can play it back for my copy.
Oh yeah, please do.
You're out here in the room, and maybe you're just nervous. Perhaps you're just nervous, but I just think you need to exude just a little bit more confidence,
right?
And just kind of mastering the room, mastering the art of speaking, coming out here and conveying what you're looking for.
So he basically called her out because he quote unquote said she lacked the confidence that he needed, which is crazy because you got called out for the same thing.
Shot caller made a good point in the comment section.
What irked me is that Shawty was from a foreign land. Her personality traits / mannerisms are gonna be different, but you resort to saying she needs to work on her confidence. That part.
Yeah, that's the hypocritical part about this whole thing. That I don't like. Okay. I feel like if James were to be on a BM speaker on it, he would definitely have to clear that up, or not necessarily defend himself, but take accountability for what he did.
I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, shout out El Dragon. Universal Man, it's very rare we get you to come up here, so I expect some heat. Go ahead, man, cook it up.
No, good night, but no heat but tonight, because I agree with most of what you all said. So there's no heat. It is. I agree that it was hypocritical. I could understand if the person was displaying a personality trait that was worth popping for, but because someone doesn't control the room, the presence, I mean, that's just nonsense. And a lot of times, but we put so much of focus on personality, and we're not really considering the person dominant mental inclination. We're always looking at how someone is doing something and not specifically what the person is doing, because somebody could do something very interesting but in a boring way because they never had the exposure. But what they're doing fundamentally is so interesting. And then there are some people, they really have nothing serious or really interesting, but whatever they engage in, they have a very open personality. So personality is like paint on a wall. It could come on and come off. You're really supposed to be looking at the Bible refers to it as the secret person of the heart, but it really we're talking about someone's dominant mental inclination. And I find that on the pop the balloon, they really don't look at that aspect. It's always how the person comes across. It's always how. It's never what the person is fundamentally in and of themselves. Right? So there's always that superficialness to most of them, and James really he really showed that up. That yeah. So that's all that I wanted to say.
Hey, hey, he was cooking up. Shout out Universal, man. Shout out. Hey, nah, that's real talk. We always looking at, and we're talking about what, but we're not looking deeper. We're not looking at the real reasons. We're not taking it past that fundamentally. All right, Jules, go ahead, man. And then Miles, welcome to the chat, man. It's okay to be late as long as you bring some heat.
Huh.
All right, I'm gonna put this in a way that the way I'm about to explain this next point is low key kind of came to my mind as we were kind of discussing it. So basically, what I'm about to say is James pulled a Batman, and the reason why I'm saying that is because when you look at the character of Batman, what do you see? You see Bruce Wayne, the person, the persona, if you will. The persona of Bruce Wayne, and then you also look at the persona of Batman. Let's compare the two, so to speak. People often say that Bruce Wayne is the mask and Batman is his real identity. And with James, the way I see it is, James might be masking his insecurity, so to speak, and decided to fire some ammunition the other way.
Okay. No, I see what you're getting at. Okay. All right. Shout out.
That's pretty much it.
Hey, shout out Jules. Mr. Miles. Do you need context of what we're talking about?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I just came in. I'm fantastic. I'm a little late. I was watching Lean on Me. You know, that movie gets addicting when you ain't watching it in a while.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about right now. I think we're talking about Kermit the Fraud. That's what I gave him his name. I called him Kermit the Fraud because it's just he a fraud and he sound like Kermit. So instead of but I'm not gonna call him a fraud. He's a Kermit the Fraud.
Yeah, we're basically talking about we're talking about the fact that he basically we're asking, how do you feel about his behavior overall? Like I said, my take is still my take from our reaction, that I'm disappointed that the same person that we were trying to defend, and everybody was banding together to say like these women did this man wrong, for him to come back and just do the same thing those women did to him, but to a person who genuinely didn't deserve it. It's like, man, that's how I feel. But we just asking how you felt about James.
James is a part of the group that is standing right there. Him, the fake Cool Runnings, the guy named Body, and Mr. Snaggletooth Mouth. They all in the same boat. R&B group called the Frauds. He is a glorified fraud from what I've seen. He's the kind of person that gets a little exposure. Now he don't know how to act. Essentially. We had a lot of grace for him in the beginning, along with some of the other guys. But then once they get a little bit of fame, a little bit of DMs, if you will, a little bit of, oh hey, I saw you on the show, a little bit of notoriety. They don't know how to act. Every last one of them, it's the same thing. That's what I noticed. Every last one of them, once they got that little exposure, they started acting real funny. Kermit is no different here. He's the same thing. He's that kind of dude who probably didn't have a lot of, attention growing up. Now he got it. Now he don't know how to act. I don't even know why he was on the show in the first place. What happened to that Waverly contact? What happened to the, what happened to all the girls in my DMs? You remember that? All the girls in my DMs. What happened to all that? So Yeah, he's Kermit the Fraud. Him with that Christmas bow tie he got on. You know, it's whack, man. He corny. Just go sit down and go sit on a lily pad or something. I don't know.
What?
Just go do something with your life or something. He a clown to me. He a clown lawyer. I wouldn't even want him to defend me. He ain't got no bass in his voice to defend me. So I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay, shout out to Mike.
I hope that was the heat you needed.
Hey, it was more than it was more than Hey, you know what? I'm here for it because at this point, like I said, my biggest thing I can't stand for, and everybody in this group in 2G1A can vouch for me saying this, I can't stand when people switch up. That crap is lame. Switching up is lame. If you gonna be solid in the beginning, be solid in the end. Don't switch up because you like the attention, bruh. That crap is lame.
No.
Alex, you gonna switch up?
You solid, I'm liquid. I'm switching up. I'm just
Niggas be treating me like I'm a gas.
He's still on Flock Talk, by the way.
Stupid.
Man, I had my rent, bro. Y'all don't mind me.
I missed the West Rent. Dang.
Oh yeah,
don't worry, you'll get one, bro. I was in there tweaking. It's not safe for work, bro.
It's not a good. It's not a public friendly rant, but it's justified though. Yeah. It's a valid rant. But all right. So now that we're done with the public execution of James has been. Unless somebody else has something they wanted to say before we move on. If not, we good. We good to move on.
Miles handled that. Kermit the Fraud is crazy.
Kermit the Fraud is a diabolical. It's diabolical.
Yeah, it's a diabolical nickname. I ain't gonna lie.
So, next thing is the topic that our friend Nitro Marvelous actually brought up to us, and it was actually about this segment right here.
So if it was something that I needed to
this section right here. Now, a lot of people
repeat the question.
In answer to her question.
One thing. So
what this section is in this segment was this young lady had came out. Clearly everybody was attracted to her. I guess that's what they want. They like her. She's an attractive woman. Do your thing. We had an individual on there who throughout the entire episode was speaking westernized English perfectly fine. Then he did this. So let's watch the clip.
If your ex could warn me about one thing when it comes to dating you, what would they say? And would you agree with them?
Okay. Name and age and answer to her question.
Name Shad, 34. Repeat the question for me again.
So, if your ex had to warn me or let me know one thing about dating you, what do you think they would say? And would you agree with them?
Yeah, them would have said that I'm very caring, very loving, and I agree with that 100%.
Well, warn. So if it was something that I needed to
so a negative aspect.
Yeah, maybe like a toxic trait of sorts.
No, I can be nonchalant sometimes, you see me?
Okay.
Yeah,
Look at her lip
I feel like I put in the work and I really give back the same kind of energy.
Okay.
Feel like I kind of distance myself,
Okay. Are you Jamaican?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever been to Jamaica before?
I haven't. I'm actually trying to go for my 30th birthday.
Okay. You ever had oxtail before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I love oxtail.
Baby girl, you oxtail. No make nobody, son, treat you like you're chicken butt, isn't it?
Okay.
Sean, when did you start talking like this? You just switch up on us.
It's just Riz.
So, now Kofi Kingston.
Yup, Kofi Kingston is the perfect example of that.
He didn't have a choice.
That was a perfect example of it. So, in our reaction, I got on his case and I frauded him out because you did this. You did not have this accent the entire video. The entire video up to this point, you did not have this. But keynote, the point that I called him a fraud out on, look at the point where he started using the accent. It was when he got asked the question, if your ex had to tell me something and warn me something about you, what would they say? And all of a sudden now, it's, oh, you tell me now, you meet me ox teddy and all this other stuff. And he didn't even answer the question the right way. He tap danced the question. He Jamaicanized the question and just walked away from it, right? He frauded for me, bro. I don't know. But Alex, how you feel?
I thought it was funny. I was confused at first, but when he's like, I kind of already knew what he was doing when he switched the accent. Like he said, it's Riz. I already knew what he was doing.
All right. So, Nitro, you wanted to start this topic off, so go ahead and set the stage. What are we talking about with this individual here?
So it was more soft.
You're just so
No, you're good.
Yeah, so it was more so I just wanted to understand what the reaction more was. I think you clarified it, because it was more for me with the accent switch up, where I was just trying to make the point that most Jamaicans actually do that, especially when they do a lot of public speaking. And once they get into their feelings, or once they go back into a certain way, Patois is a language that flows, right? And as well as I wanted a Jamaican to be in here, because again, I got Jamaican blood in me, but I'm born Canadian. So armed swordsman's here, so that's my backup right there, right? Just to because I know you had said like you find those people to be kind of untrustworthy, but I was just saying in my circle, right? I've had a lot of trustworthy people that do switch their accents like that. Like, of course you have the accent, but then you have the hard patois that comes out, and sometimes Jamaica, they love the party style. They like trying to hit on girls, or when they see a girl that they like, they switch their accent. And sometimes it just comes out depending on the people that you're around too, right? So even just going through the whole episode where he didn't use the language, right? Like he knows that, and he's like, yo, let me try something different. So at least on that part, I'm not saying he frauded on. I would say he frauded on trying to actually look for love, unless he was just picky. But I'm just talking about the accent part and him switching that up. I know a lot of Jamaicans that do that, especially when they deal with public speaking.
Okay, that's a great take. Armed swordsman. Armed swordsman. What is your take on our friend code switching?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my show explained it quite well. Because honestly, as I said, because I comment on video, I'm defending him because this is the thing. A lot of times Jamaicans do switch up their the way they speak, and sometimes unintentionally, but a lot of the times it's intentional. So like we cannot talk like just normal, and I'm gonna say boom, you see me? I'm gonna say so, and we are talking, but you can't understand me, you see me? Because of the way I talk, you see me? So sometimes we switch up because switch up for fun, But I just so you think, different from that, all of that aside. I mean, all of that aside, it's a thing that a lot of Jamaicans do, especially I'm learning. Americans like different accents, right? So a lot of Jamaican men, when they speak the patois, it I don't know, it intrigues a lot of women. Well, American women, it intrigues them because I think maybe it's just because they're not used to hearing it. So it intrigues them. So a lot of them use the language like that. I mean, it's kind of like a similar situation for the British accent, right? So I don't know, it just intrigues them. So a lot of people use that as he said, race. I mean, I personally, if I'm speaking to somebody who doesn't speak patois, I put communication on top. So I'd rather speak standard American English instead of using patois, because I put communication and it's more important to me that you understand what I'm saying. But that's just me. But there's a lot of people that do it, and a lot of time it is unintentional, because so what it is that when our feelings are involved, we divert to what we are more used to, right? So if we get angry, you'll hear the Jamaican part come out, If we're emotional anyway, and maybe he saw her and got extremely emotional, that's a possibility, and so he decided that he was going to switch it up. Because honestly, when he asked her to repeat the question, I instantly understood what happened. Because a lot of the time when we're speaking, when we're going back from standard English to patois, it causes a mind lag. And I honestly, when he asked her to repeat the question, I was like, that is exactly what happened. He was focusing on switching back, and so he zoned out on the question.
I'm willing to, I like that take. I can't agree with it. I can't. And it's just a small, see, when we do the reactions, our monitor is very big, right? So when we're doing reactions, we're seeing a lot of face expression stuff. And as I said in my reactions, when I watch stuff, I look at body language, I look at face expressions before I even focus on what people are saying, right? Now, the reason why I called him frauding, right, is because I'm watching subtle things that happen as he's being asked the question, right? So as she, look at his behavior when she's asking it. Just watch his face the entire time she's talking.
Go ahead and ask them a question to help you narrow it
Just
down.
watch his face.
Okay. All right. So if your ex could warn me about one thing when it comes to dating you, what would they say? And would you agree with them?
Okay. Name and age and answer to her question.
That right there is so minor, right? But there's very key things that he did. One, the shaking his head. He don't want to answer this question. Two, he looks over to James to try to get some confirmation of like, dang, this really that question? And then as soon as that happens, what happens when it's time for him to adjust it?
Name Shad, 34.
He know this is how he was talking the whole time.
Repeat the question for me again.
So, like, if your ex had to warn me or let me know one thing about dating you, what do you think they would say? And would you agree with them?
Yeah, the would have said that I'm very caring, very loving, and I agree with that 100%. Okay.
He didn't answer the question. You guys couldn't see it, but you guys can hear it. He didn't answer the question here, right? He didn't answer the question. So she had to ask him again. And this is when he code switches up, which is ironic because I get what you're saying of like maybe he was thinking between the patois and stuff like that. But now I have the shaking the head no, the side eye towards James, the re-asking the question. Then you didn't answer the question the correct way after she repeated it the second time. So then here we go again for the third time.
Well, warn. So if it was something that I needed to like,
oh, so a negative aspect.
Yes. Yeah, maybe like a toxic trait of sorts.
No, I can be nonchalant sometimes, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, like I feel like I put in the work and I really give back the same kind of energy.
Okay.
Feel like I kind of distance myself, like, yo.
Okay. Are you Jamaican?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever been to?
Are you Jamaican? What else?
You see how it completely, one, he didn't answer the question again because she asked, what would your ex say a trait about you? He goes, oh, I'm nonchalant, blah, 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 blah. Are you Jamaican? And then the whole conversation goes into him being Jamaican. It completely eliminated the initial conversation. What is your negative trait that your ex would be saying about you? And do you agree with that trait or disagree with it? So that's why I'm like, nah, bro, frauded, because that's five times now in that interaction, that's shady behavior. You shook your head no to the question. You side-eyed somebody else because you don't like the question. You had to repeat the question, even though you're the person directly next to her. You heard her perfectly fine. Then you answered the question wrong and then you scapegoat to the accent after. I can't trust it. You feel what I'm saying? That's just my mindset. But Arm, if you got rebuttal to that, go ahead, man.
I hear you. And for the most part, I'll actually agree with you. I'll actually agree with you here for the most part. But this is where I'll disagree. Since the start of this session, it was actually speaking patois, but it was so similar. As I said, he didn't switch properly yet. It was so similar that he didn't. So when he says, repeat the question for me again, that's him speaking patois, right? But this is where I'll agree with you. What he did is that he used the patois, he used the accent to shift the conversation. And you are absolutely right there. You're absolutely right there. He used it to shift the conversation because he knows that in using this language that he wasn't been using before, it would create intrigue. And that's what he did. So I'll agree with you there. You're absolutely right there.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Universal said he does answer the question nonchalant, not taking something seriously. This is the same guy that Waverly asked about celibacy. The answer on celibacy was a lie. This one is true. Okay, fair take. All right. Next, we got Miles. Miles, go ahead.
Yeah, so part of the group called the Frauds, he is one of their lead singers. I've seen this before too, you know, growing up, man. I had a friend, you know, she's from London, but she sounds like she sounds like Kanaya because she lives in DC. She lived in DC now for about 6-7 years, but she's from London though. She's 33 and she's got a DC accent, but and she tries to hold it as long as she can. And one time we was just on the phone and we was arguing, and I swear on my mother, like literally like 2 a.m, out of nowhere, she was like, "Miles, you know what your problem is? Your problem is I don't like your dancing." And I was like, "Yo, what is that? Where did that come from? Like, excuse me, what?" And she was like, "Oh, sorry, my accent is coming out." And I was like, "Okay, but why do you hold the DC accent for so long? Why do you just talk like you talk? Like, why you put on the front?" And I think it's because they just want to come to America and everybody just want to be us so bad. And it's like, nah, just be yourself. Just don't change. Just be yourself. But sometimes they come and they see the American influence before they get here. They got a whole movie about that. There's a movie out there, tons of international movies about kids watching America influence and trying to imitate us. And then they get here and then now they think they New York. Now they think they from California. You know, they crip walking in London. You know, it's like, come on now. You know, it's like, it gets to the point where you're like, okay, you're influenced by us so much that you don't even have an identity of your own anymore. Just be yourself. If you come here and be yourself, we'll love you that much more. But I don't think they understand that. And he lives in Florida where they fake the most in this country anyway. It's all about image. And he practiced that image and then he got caught with the girl and essentially that flustered him and then his Jamaican accent came out on the Cool Running side of the game. So yeah, he's a part of the fraud group. The whole thing is fraud, and I hope you hit that alarm during the Flaw Talk.
Shoot, I'll hit it right now. Shoot, y'all won't hear it, but the people on the live stream can hear it. There you go. There's the fraud alarm. All right, thank you, Moss. All right, next we have Lou Dave.
Yeah, man. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. That's my first and last name just mixed together, bro.
Oh, okay. I got you. I'll just call you Lou. My fault.
Yeah. So anyway, man, I remember when Shad was the guy trying to get a date, and when Waverly asked him that question about the celibacy, and he didn't get the date with her or whatever. I think when he came on this show, that's where he changed. And so he kind of had me laugh when he hit the accent though. And because as soon as he started hitting the accent, old girl had the big smile. So I guess he figured with the big smile, he was going to be able to get her. And for a while, I thought she was going to pick him. So when she busted the balloon off of his accent and him talking about taking her to Jamaica and all that stuff, I thought he had her. But, you know, as far as him with the fraud stuff, man, that was funny to me. It's just funny to me. So that's all I got, my man.
I got you. Hey, appreciate you, Lou.
Take.
It's a good take. All right, Jules.
Honestly, with this whole accent thing, sidebar, pulling out an accent mid video is crazy work. Number one. Number two is the fact. Honestly, with what Lou said, now after he said that part about the whole, she was kind of almost all in on the Jamaican trip. I thought she was gonna pick him myself. And the thought that ran through my head was, oh Lord, I hope we don't get another Eric situation. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's really about it. Also, his suit was fire. I will give him that.
No, the suit was nice.
He was really dapper. Nice, clean.
Shout out Jules. The suit was dapper. Shady, you can unmute.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. To be honest, I don't think he was fronting on the accent part. I just think he saw her and he like really liked what he was seeing. And you know, like someone previously said, you know, accents really, you know, get women going. So he just pulled it out and he was trying to get her attention. And, you know, he pulled out the Jamaican trip, you know, try to get flyer out and stuff. So I just think he was really interested in her because he's seen what he's seen and, you know, he just wants to get with her.
Okay. Shout out to you. Universal Man said, be yourself. What happened to when in Rome, do as Romans do? A Jamaican accent can be intimidating to maintain in an unwelcoming environment. Plus, he there to get a match. If speaking with an American accent is fraud, are wigs fraud? I'm trying to. Okay, I get where you're going with it.
I feel like we latching more on to like not the core issue at hand. The core issue at hand is the fact that he was speaking what we would all deem regularly, and then he switched for this particular person in this particular line of questioning. That is kind of what we're latching onto here. Yes. I have no issue with you can speak whatever accent you want. The problem is that he spoke. How long are you into the video? An hour and 7 minutes. That thing. And it's only an hour and 46. He talked in that, you know, regular American accent that whole time. And then we get to hour 7:51. Then he start doing the Jamaican thing.
Mm-hmm. And then after
that's
after he didn't
kind of
get
what
her,
we're latching on to.
After he didn't get this girl, he went right back. He went back normal. And that's why I'm like, it's a little, I mean, for the dark-skinned girl that came after him, he did it for a little bit, but then after he popped on her, it went away. After he popped, he went right back to English, and he didn't use that accent. He didn't use patois for the rest of that video. It was only these two little segments. And that's why I'm like, bro, it's just, if he would have been doing the patois on and off throughout the whole episode, on and off, I'd be like, okay, cool, that's just him. But you did it at that specific moment, that specific question, and it ironically was a question you didn't like. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, it's kind of shifty. The wig thing, that's a debate in itself because shoot, I feel like there's no winning argument in the hair argument, but I get what you're trying to say. Hurdle God, let me server unmute you.
Yo, how y'all doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I feel like at first I thought y'all was reaching because like I thought maybe that's just what he does until he said the reason why he did it. And he said the reason why he did it was Riz related. So I'm like, if you're putting this much effort into her, why not put that much effort into all the girls that come on the panel?
Mm-hmm.
Like why not be your real self? And yeah, that's basically my opinion on it. I just feel like he should have been his real self. And I also think he changed his personality while she was up there because he started like joking more. And like you could tell he was putting in more effort because when she asked him about how many kids he has, he said he had like 13, 14 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like he wasn't being his real authentic self, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's all I had to say.
Hey, shout out to Hurdle. Lou pointed out he never used it during his episode when he was trying to get a date. So in the episode where he was actually the contestant that walked out, he did not use the patois. He did not use the accent. And that kind of just furthers my point of Remy said, he used it in an abnormal scenario. It's manipulative. But the accent switching is common.
Accent switching is common.
Yeah, yep. I'm over here choking. I can't breathe.
No, you good.
But yeah, it like somebody said, it's like the Kofi Kingston situation. Kofi Kingston is authentic Jamaican. He can speak patois, he can do all that. But there was an episode of WWE where he broke character. And they had to be like, well, you broke the character now. Can't do the Jamaican thing no more. He's gone in. My fault. My fault. I don't know this man like, but I remember he used to have a heavy accent, and then one day on WWE during a live promo, he was talking and there was an argument going on, and he broke the accent. And Triple H called him out and was like, "Wait, where's your accent? I thought you were Jamaican."
Yeah, but wasn't that because Vince McMahon was like forcing him to do the accent? He didn't really want to do it.
It was his character. They wanted his character to be that, and he ended up breaking the illusion. He did it by accident though, but Triple H kind of capitalized on it and was like, "Wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be?" And they just had to go with it. Armed Swordsman, you're back up again.
Yeah, so I just wanted to address a few things, because all that is being said, I'll go. But maps, come on, that be like us thing. That be like us thing at Jamaica doesn't work. Jamaicans are extremely different individuals. The thing is, when in Rome, do what the Romans do is a real thing. A lot of the times when we speak patois, people don't understand us, and it doesn't make sense. We're going to be using a language to communicate if nobody can communicate with us in that language. It doesn't make sense. So a lot of times when Jamaicans go overseas, they stick to standard English, or unless they struggle with it. A lot of the times, even when they struggle with it, they try to get better, because it's really hard when you're thinking that you're speaking normally and people aren't understanding what you're saying. So you try to change what it is that you're saying. But as it relates to the patois, Jamaicans are going to always speak patois. Jamaicans are one of the proudest people on this earth, and I can promise you that is true. Pride is a sin and we need to work on it, but trust me, Jamaicans are extremely proud of their culture. Extremely proud of their culture. And so that is that, but I'm just going to approach this from a different way, asking you guys to look at it a different way instead of looking at it from a fraud. Let's say he was speaking American English, right? And maybe in his mind, and this is just conjecture, maybe he was saying, okay, maybe this isn't working. I'm really attracted to this girl. Let me try something different. That's a possibility too. It could be that he was just saying, all right, especially since they have asked a question that I'm not too comfortable with, let me try to show a bit more of my personality. Maybe what I say, will go over, or she will not focus on what it is that I am saying, but how I am saying what I'm saying. So she'll focus on the Jamaican aspect. Let me just try this thing to see if it works. And you can say it's manipulative. I honestly don't think it's like, if I'm trying A and A is not working and I can try B, why not try B? Right? And he tried B, B failed twice, so he went back to A, because I guess he didn't have a C. But that's just another way to look at it.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. Perspective. I would say the only counter argument I would say for it, even though it's not my counter argument, because my stance is kind of where I'm at right now, even with that, a easy thing that people could try to say is the fact that that seems kind of like what is it? Is it opportunistic? Is the word opportunistic? Like it's like if you know you're not gonna have a good answer for this question, and you know that this is something that you're gonna have to reveal something or whatever, or even if you want that girl, as somebody pointed out, he didn't do this accent in a full episode and then an hour into this episode. But then it's like, oh, I really want this girl though. Let me just bust it out. Then that's kind of opportunist, right? But I'm sorry, I'm trying to breathe. But that's just, I get what you're saying though. It's giving y'all are mad because he can do both and you can only do one. My people are from Trinidad.
Is it?
My people speak Creole. I don't do it on this video because, oh, okay, not me. Okay, I'm about to say, we can go there. I was like, what you mean? All right, but I get you, Arm. I get the point you're trying to make. I understand. I think Remy was supposed to be up. Let me unmute Remy. Or actually, was it Miss Price first?
Yes.
Okay, it's Miss Price and then Remy and then Universal.
Hi, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Good,
How are you?
Good. Actually, I have a comment about the Jamaican accent thing. You see, I'm from Guyana. Actually, I'm from the Caribbean, and most people that's from the Caribbean, they would do that. Like, so my husband is Jamaican and he lives in Canada. So sometimes he will like switch up his accent from like, well, he doesn't talk Canadian because he doesn't know nothing but Canadian talking. So he would talk like straight patois. And then with me now, he will speak like plain English. Right? So, but with this guy here now, I think he was just trying to get attention. I think. Because like other people say that he wasn't saying it from with other people, so why particularly her? It kind of seems to me like he was kind of being hypocritical and trying to just get attention from people and put on a show. He was just trying to be like in a hot spot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's just my little 2 cents.
Okay. No, that's valid. She says, say something in Creole. Maybe c'est mon pele que je want. Tu comprends? Ça va tout être on justice. But shout out to let's do Remy. He said sac passé. Hey Remy.
So, not to ruffle any feathers, because it's giving people are upset. And the reason I said I wasn't talking to you because I know your background. I was talking to the other gentleman in the chat that keeps saying like, "Oh, he uses Riz on an American woman. Why didn't he use it on another Jamaican?" And I'm like, it's a pickup line. Like, it's how you shoot your shot. I don't think anybody should be crucified for how they shoot their shot. Yes, it's a bit manipulative in the way he used it because he used it to avoid something, but it's not uncommon to bust it out like the other young woman said. I go back and forth all the time. Sometimes when I want people to stop talking to me, I'll bust out an accent that I have, but it doesn't make you a bad person to use it as a part of your Riz. Even if the Riz didn't work, he might have picked up a woman in his past that way. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like you said, manipulation is a tactic. When you're trying to get somebody to do what you want, people say persuasive, you can say manipulative, Hakuna Matata, tomato. Either way, you're trying to get what you want. His goal might have been to steer away that. And if she went for it, he would have used it again every time they had an argument. You know what I mean? To distract her or whatever. So you just don't know. They're on a dating show. The goal is to get the person that you want. And he did a little bit more for the person that he probably was most interested in. So... yeah.
Okay.
That's my little 2. Yeah, and I don't think anybody should be crucified for using what they got to get what they want in regards to what you have available to you. We're all born with different things. That's something that he had in his back pocket. If you can do it, cool. Somebody said that they can bust out a British, Jamaican. Yeah, you can imitate it, but you can never be it. You know what I mean? So like, a British accent we can all do, but you can't really do Caribbean and African and other, even Spanish, like the broken things that they speak. You can't really have a conversation. Even if you can imitate it, my guy, you can never do it enough to have real tangible conversations. So just respect the culture.
So my question is, oh man, what is going on? Somebody doing something to me, man. But I would ask.
You choking?
In this
mouth.
Yeah, I have a natural cough. I would ask, and Universal, you can answer this too, because I know you're about to speak after. I would ask if a person grows is in an environment, right? Like whatever, because I know Armed made a good point of patois is very like a lot of people can't understand it, so a lot of Jamaicans feel like they have to go back to the regular English. Perfectly fine. Right. If every time you have like interactions with people and you're trying to attract or whatever, or you're just having general interaction and you only use that corrective English and you only use westernized, Americanized English, right? And you're only using that. And let's say 99.9% of the time you are using westernized English, tone and verbiage. But then only when you see something that you really want is when you pull it out the bag and like, oh, I can speak patois. Like only when you really want something, you know what I'm saying? Do you see how people kind of would think that's like, okay, you're not being authentic if 99% of the time you're not doing this, but then in that 0.01% of the time you really, really want something, now it's time to break it out? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see. That's why I said he was using it in an abnormal, you know what I mean, scenario, never negated, you feel me? It was manipulative. Now, from my limited context of this just being a dating show, I don't know this person in totality. I don't know how they are around their homies. I don't know anything outside of the limited context that is filmed for us as viewers to see. I just look at that, and maybe from the dating show and the content that's been filmed, yeah, you can make a judgment based off that, but I don't know this man. So like, I don't know what his day-to-day is like. I don't know who he talks to, but yes, this seems very manipulative and it doesn't really paint him in an authentic light at all.
Okay. And Universal, you can also answer that too, because I know this you probably have more context. Thank you, Remy, by the way. I appreciate you. Universal, go ahead. See, like, I don't know if my point made sense or not, but I'll let you cook. If he's here or not.
Hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay, all right. That last caller kind of confused me because one, he is using the tools. He said that he's using the tools available to him, the same, so that we can crucify him. But then she classifies him as being manipulative. I can't see those two things fitting in the same bag. That being said, one, he didn't have to use his accent to lie because he actually lied to Waverly on the celibacy question without using an accent. And two, he actually did answer the question. He didn't duck the question, which is what most of the people saying. He said that sometimes he could be a bit nonchalant when in a serious situation, and then he used his accent to kind of justify why he would adopt a nonchalant position when he probably shouldn't. But he is answering the question. In terms of being your authentic self and using your accent only, to classify him, you see, I will not put him in the same category as James. For example, when James switch up his voice with Waverly, this guy here, this is completely different because this is something natural to him. All it's natural. The problem is not him having the confidence to use it. The problem is if it is how it's going to be received, right? So this is not something external to him. This is him. But you're on a dating show, and with someone you don't know the other person. This girl here in particular, he talked with her for about for about 20 seconds, he felt out, and then he realized, hey, my accent is going to be welcome in this particular instance, so why not bust it out? But you can't just bust out an accent just like that without no kind of feeling as to how the person is going to react. That doesn't mean that you're not genuine. I mean, Paul of himself said, you be all things to all men, so by all means be save some. I mean, so why you can't, so if you could use it for Christ, but why you can't but do that in your personal life? So I don't really see him in the same category as James when James switched up, because that switch up is not a natural switch up by James. I see this as him being natural, but him obviously cannot just throw that out because he be not sure of the reception. So that's just my little 5 cents on this.
Okay. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Universal. Yankee, you're the last one on this subject.
God bless everybody on this night, on this beautiful Friday night.
Yes,
May
sir.
heaven smile upon you.
Yankee.
God is always in your heart. And to my brethren from the motherland, the guy was like a Bata man. For real, he was a Bata man. And I'm part Jamaican and Irish, Cherokee, and Creole. So yes, I have the best of the both of that rainbow circle. Now, getting back to my language, the King's language, I feel as though the guy was being disingenuous. Being disingenuous because out of all that time, when the one that he wanted showed up, he wanted to do a finesse move. You don't do that. You become genuine all the way through, or don't come at all. Now, one person will say it might be a flex. The other person might say that was a notch in his tool belt. He had something in his tool belt that he wanted to pull out for the last ditch effort, because that was like the third to last woman that was on the slab. And the way I see it, with that being said, the dude was being disingenuous from the jump. Out of all that whole lineup, out of all the girls that came out that curtain, he pulls out that toolbox. Hey, I'm not knocking him, because the main thing about it is you learn by doing, and you pull out whatever you got to pull out all stop. But if you're going to do that, do it all the way from the beginning to the end, rather than just doing it at midpoint. Because then that makes us have this conversation that we're having now. Am I right though?
Yeah,
Don't you know?
I agree. Shout out to Mr. Yankee talking his talk. He talking his talk.
And I always will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. No, it's crazy. I get both sides. I get both sides because I can't argue against Jamaican people on how patois flows, right? Like Armed Swordsman said in a good point of, sometimes when you're just passionate about something, it flows off. I still have my feelings towards it because I feel like what I feel, but to say that I don't get what people are pointing out, that would be wrong. You get what I'm saying? But Alex, are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I'll let you start that off if you have the next topic, my dear.
Okay. The next topic is coming from L Dragon. Going back to the Pop the Balloon, what does it mean to be raised out of love and or survival, and how does it affect you in relationships or life in general?
Okay, so let me get that scene where that conversation came up.
Jeremy, I'm 36.
And Jeremy, what do you do?
I'm a barber.
And just answer her questions.
Hold on. It was when she was asked questions.
I'm pop
Village.
Village.
Over here?
All right. So, first question was
Village.
Village.
I remember.
Yes, I have a village.
Okay. Hold on, not that part. I'm sorry, y'all need to know that.
That's were you raised to be a wife?
Okay. So it's this segment right here. So to give context, Wakuna was going down the line and she got asked this question, essentially, were you raised on love or were you raised on survival?
It was pretty much. So like that's what I mean when I say love or survival.
Well, maybe survival is relative. I had to survive my cousins. That's a lot.
Let me go back even further because I want the full question so people can get the full context. All right, here we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. I may as well walk all the way back here. All right, what are your questions?
Were you raised out of love or survival?
I'd say both. And let me elaborate.
Please.
I come from a large family. We had cousins in the house. A lot of them. Think about having 20 people in the house. And your food, you had to eat fast. And it's not from poverty, it's just because that's family, you know, you have to share with them. So I think that's to an extent survival and love, because just having them around is a lot of love. So I grew up in a compound. We had dogs. We had a parrot too.
Parrot?
Yes, parrot. Parrot,
Bird, right?
Parrot or
No,
parrot?
I was making sure that's what I heard. I wasn't correcting you.
No, I mean the pronunciations are different.
Yeah.
So we had a lot in the house. So I think it's a combination of both, which is okay. I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Survival
Can I
and love.
elaborate a little bit? I appreciate your
Yes.
explanation. Can I elaborate?
Yes.
So when I say out of love or survival, when I say loving means you had upbringing that promotes what we would deem, or as African Americans would deem as a good life. Like you had the mom, the dad, they teach you to do good stuff in school.
Right.
You grew up, you ain't had no struggle. Out of survival meaning like your peoples told you, oh, you gotta be a doctor because you gotta be the savior for our family. Or like you gotta be a big you gotta save us, pretty much. So like that's what I mean when I say love or survival.
Okay. So the topic is, what does it mean to be raised out of love or survival? And how does it affect you in relationships or life in general? I'm gonna let my 2G1A people answer it. Alex, do you feel like you were raised out of love or survival?
It's a deep question.
Or both. Both is also an answer. I forgot. Both is also an answer.
I mean, I would say both, but my mom was a young teen mom, so. But I would say both.
Okay. And do you feel like how you were raised? Do you feel like that affects you and how you operate in our marriage currently?
Yeah, cause like being raised out of love, I could say like. Being raised out of love, your self-confidence or your self-worth won't like waver. You won't lack in those areas. Like you can learn to set like healthier boundaries when you're raised out of love versus when you're raised out of survival, you have like attachment issues, you're hyper independent, like you get overwhelmed. Well, I get overwhelmed very easily, like anxiety, I get anxious and like I'm fearful. Or like I have like a tendency to like overcompensate or try to be like a very high achiever because you got to get it out the mud type thing. And seeing my mom always have to like go through all these crazy hoops in life to make it far so I can have a better upbringing and stuff like that. It affects me. It can affect me.
Okay.
But I'm raised through both.
Okay. West, what do you feel? Are you raised off of love or survival? Or both?
Personally, I say I was raised out of love, but the circumstances in relation to my upbringing and like me becoming a young adult, and like eventually a grown man kind of put me into survival mode. I realized that while I may have been raised off of love, the circumstances of my family structure and then just who I am as a person kind of put me into survival mode. I feel that I need to do well and exceed at specific things because I am the only one that can pick not only myself up by my own bootstraps, but my family as well. You know, there's things that I want to do. I want to continue my family legacy and i.e. I want to have kids and start my own family and such, continue my last name and everything like that. But I'm a first generation college student. Yes, both my mother and my uncle went to college, but they did not graduate. So like, you know what's up with me and my college thing, like content relation stuff, career, past stuff. Like at the end of the day, I know that I was like put on this earth for a specific reason. I may not have come across that reason yet, but I know that there is like inevitable success in my future, no matter what path I choose to pursue. So that is kind of what like put me into survival mode, in the sense that I need to do this not only for myself but my family as well.
Okay, no, that's valid. That's valid. All right, let's get to it. I'm just gonna go down the list. I know everybody got pulled up at different times. Wait, let me see. Okay, Stepper was first. So Stepper, were you raised off of love and or survival, and how does that affect you in relationships or life in general?
I was mostly raised in between. I'm not gonna say love, but I was mostly raised off of survival because personally, I basically had to learn everything on my own. I never had nobody in my family who basically told me everything, so I just had to learn everything on my own. But mostly survival I was raised off of. Love, I wasn't really like getting love that much, so yeah, you know.
Okay. And how do you think that affects you in life or in relationships right now?
Didn't really affect me as much because, you know, I have held on my own since I was a teenager. Says like, you know, I basically had to learn the world. I basically had to learn the world and basically how the world's structured and understand everything. So yeah, didn't really affect me as much during my past relationships and everything. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's valid. I appreciate you for your openness, man. All right. Next we had Chubbs. Chubbs, if you need me to repeat the question, let me know. But if you got it, then let's do it.
All right, so I'm gonna say that. Can y'all hear me good?
Yes. You sound crystal clear.
All right, so I'm gonna say I was raised off both of them: survival in my early years, and somewhere around 13 or 14 was love. And I say survival in my early years because growing up, like, I'm my mom's baby and I'm my dad's firstborn, so I got the best of both worlds. Now, my early years, my dad was in jail up until I was about 13. My mom, she was a drug addict. So it was my oldest sister who was raising all the younger boys under her. She was the oldest, and it was like 5 boys under her. My mom would leave the house because, like I said, she's running the streets. But she would come back like every week or two to drop money off and drop food off at the house. And my sister, you know, would cook for get us ready for school in the morning and stuff, making sure we getting our work done. And I resented my mother growing up, you know, not understanding the life that she was living. Later on down the line, after she got clean and everything was good, she bought a house, got a job, got a car. My dad got out of jail. I was finally able to build a relationship with him. You know, so they started to make up for all the lost time. I had to forgive my mother. And you know what I'm saying? And also I had to forgive my dad for, you know, going to prison and not being there, you know, when I needed him most in those early childhood years.
Right.
I learned how to, you know, they brought the love that I needed later on in life and stuff. So I will say, as a grown man, you know, it definitely did affect me and my decision making and how I pick women and, you know, what I desire from them. You know, like I said, because I ain't have my mother around to teach me, like, you know what I'm saying,
right,
what to expect from a girlfriend or how to approach women and stuff like that. Because, you know, I wasn't thinking about that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, we just out here trying to make it to the next day and stuff, you know. And so, yeah, I'll definitely say both of them, and it definitely affects your life choices. But, you know, as you get older, you have to make that conscious decision on, all right, is this how I'm going to continue to stay, or do I want to be better? So when I do bring children into this world, I can give them the love that they need so they don't have to grow up on survival.
Okay.
Well said. Well
Well
Chubbs.
said. And I appreciate you for your open and transparency. Thank you for sharing that with us. I will say if this subject is too deep for some people, I understand.
You don't have to answer.
Don't answer anything that's gonna take you out of that. But I respect it. Shout out to Chubbs. Thank you for sharing that. It was Nitro third. So Nitro, go ahead.
Oh, I'm probably gonna say both. Maybe slightly more on the survival side. I don't know if it's more. I don't know if it's really valid for me to say that based on my reasoning. But you know, that's up for debate once I explain it. So growing up, basically my mom raised me by herself as a single mom. Yes, I did get to see my dad, but it wasn't like he was really hands-on with it because him and his wife over there was a different style of life, and you know, so and then obviously, you know, living with my mom, she's always working. You know, she gotta get food on the table, right? So I didn't get to see the interactions between my pops and my mom growing up. So I'm gonna say my mom kind of raised me out of survival because my dad didn't really do much to support it. Like I said, I did get to see him, but there was a lot more things that I don't even understand to this day, but I still understood. I understand more things now. But yeah, like you're home alone a lot of the times. You don't see those loving interactions,
right? Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to the relationship part, when you're now you're trying to find somebody and stuff, I just know that whatever lady I pursue or consider to be my life partner, I don't want to see her cry or broken like I've seen my mom crying broken.
Right.
Right. But what I'm missing and what I had to learn, so what I was missing and what I have to learn and continue to learn is how does a man treat a woman in a loving relationship with a kid growing up in the house. There's certain questions I didn't feel comfortable asking my dad that I feel like only a dad can answer, but because he's not there like that, it's really like, okay, who do I go to? But you know, you got mom there, and then mom's not there because she has to work to make sure I live. So it's like a lot of the things you have to find out. So when I say survival, I'm not talking about, I have to go out on the street, sell this, and yada yada yada. I'm just talking about, I guess, more on the mentality side of trying to understand human interactions and how to better yourself and just be with people. Right? Yeah. So I hope that makes sense, because you know, even today I still try to figure it out on why I do the things that I do or think the way that I think. Right? Just to make sense of it and how my actions impact other people that I'm trying to pursue or that really like or have that interest in me, and how I treat them, and then I reflect on it a lot, and sometimes I don't know why. Right? Of course I let it go, but it's just like there's life lessons in your past, and going forward you don't want to repeat those mistakes. So that's why I say both, but kind of more slightly on the survival side.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Make perfect sense. Shout out to Nitro.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, big dog. Appreciate you. All right. Nah, shoot, this is a good conversation. Mr. Yankee.
I could say both. For me, it's both, because I was blessed with two dads, and out the two dads, one was there to shepherd me as a man that I am, even though I'm still learning, and I never can get it. And sometimes I can get it right, sometimes I can't. In the same token, my mom, she was always the fountain of love. She was my fountain. She was my chariot, my savior, my Calvary, and she taught me how the world works, as well as she gave me enough love to know what was right and what was wrong, and what would be God in her eyes. Because in all kids' breath, mother and father are just as sound as God's voice. So I heard. I'm paraphrasing from The Crow. But getting on that subject, you can know what type of woman that you want. Not as I said, we all go through this struggle in our eternal man, our spiritual man, especially growing up from a kid to adolescent to adult. And if you're in a two family family, whether it be traditional or step, and I don't even call step a step because that's a step towards becoming a better person when you're in a relationship like that, especially when you slip, trip, and fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though that those things, as far as necessity and survival, also go hand in hand with love and companionship. Because the main thing about it is when you're in a two family establishment and an understanding, you do not exist. It's us. And that's the main thing. If you even remotely think that you're able to do it by yourself and you call yourself married, you're not going to last long. Why? Because you're being selfish, and then on top of that, you're putting your feelings over the person that you're supposed to be caring for.
Mm.
So if that person is a woman and they're doing that, or if it's a guy that's doing that, the relationship's not going to last. Can't wait to see your reaction on Love Mountain, especially with the first female that had more red flags than her dress on than anything. Can't wait to see that, KiteZz. But that's a to be continued.
Got you.
But what I'm trying to say is, guys and dolls, I'm just saying, you should all if you've been around relationships where it's two people and kids, or just two people that with all the stuff bearing down on them, but yet they still come home with each other, even though through the arguments and all that, especially that makes the relationship work. That's what the accountability comes into when you're in that. So it's both survival and necessity, but when you do it together, that's the load lifting off of you. You're letting that load lift off because y'all both are taking it in and two against the world.
Right. Okay. Hey, shout out to Mr. Yankee. He doing it, man. He doing it grand. All right, Blessed.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be in this space. I'm so glad I came across y'all's YouTube channel.
Hey,
something to say, and I love the consistency. So okay, this is a great question. What does it mean to be raised out of love or survival, and how does it affect you in relationships or life in general? Okay, so what's like interesting is like while I was growing up, like honestly, I thought like a 2-parent household meant like that means you're raised out of love, like that's how I would view it. But like, however, like for me, I was raised in a 2-parent household, and I would say I was raised out of survival. So my parents had me in their 40s, and I remember I was 18, and I was and my parents at that point were in their 60s, early 60s, and I was having to like have conversations with them to talk about mental health. And I verbatim remember asking my dad, "Do you know what mental health is?" And he was like, "No." And so that can just kind of give you, to sum it up, that growing up as a child, teenager, there was no like discussion about your mental health, emotional well-being, or any thing, even as far as like marriage, relationships, how does that look like. And so I was definitely like raised off survival. Like I remember waking up at like 5 a.m. on a school day so my mom could take me, because both my parents had very early shifts, so I had to wake up with them. They had to drop me off at a neighbor's house, then I would stay at that neighbor's house and then go to the bus with them. And then after school was the same exact thing. My parents were not home, and I would go to my neighbors' houses for them to watch me, because I'm little. Until it got to the point where it's like you staying in the house, lock the door, don't open the door for no one, don't answer the phone, and you become your own babysitter.
Yeah, basically.
Yep, that's the same story for
I know that
everybody.
feeling. Yeah.
Same story for everybody, man.
No, for real. Literally. And so, and then I was like 12, 13. And I remember I wanted to become a doctor. I did have like genuine interest in wanting to become a pediatrician, but it was definitely deemed like my parents would literally have discussions with me like, okay, when you get older, you know, you'll be able to like pay for our bills, like basically support your parents. Because like I said, they had me like, I guess technically, you know, outside of like the normal age range, I suppose. But and so I just had like that expectation that, yeah, like and also we did live in a rough neighborhood. So I was like, okay, you know, let me become a doctor, take my parents out, the struggle. And it just was definitely out of survival. And I would say that, yeah, it definitely did affect my relationships, of having that trauma, because when you have like all this trauma and survival, it's like when you it's almost like when you see a good man in front of you, you don't know you have one because you didn't experience like your own father, who should be your first love as a daughter, right? Doing those things because they're just working 3 jobs and you barely see them, right? So I would say it affected me that way, just not being taught about marriage, you know, reciprocating, you know, all the things. And I believe that it did affect me in relationships, and like I would say more so a negative way. But then, you know, ultimately healing and with God and everything, that you can make it through it, and I believe that I did. So yeah, that's all.
Okay.
No, that's understandable.
Yep, like somebody said in the chat, in the comments, very relatable. I think that is a very relatable story for a lot of people, and I thank you for sharing that, Blessed. All right, let me make sure I'm staying in order. It was Jules next. Jules.
Alrighty, as someone who grew up seeing his parents love each other and in a loving environment, I can definitely say that I was raised out of love and not necessarily out of survival per se. Unfortunately, I did have to later grow up with a single mom because my dad unfortunately passed away unexpectedly when I was 16.
Sorry to hear that.
Condolences to you.
So I would say after that, I was still raised out of love, because even though my dad wasn't around anymore or was gone, I still had male figures I could still reach out to and look up to to gain wisdom, advice, basically whatever I needed per se. I could always count on the fact that they got my back no matter what. So yeah, that's really about it.
All right,
that's good.
Again, sorry for your loss, Jules, but we also thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your transparency, man. We appreciate you. All right, Hurdle, Hurdle, then Miles, then we finish this off with Armed.
Yo.
Hey.
Yo, I would say I have a similar story to Blessed. I was raised in a I lived in a 2-parent household. But my parents are kind of strangers to me. I was more so alone as a kid, and I wasn't really taught how to be like a man, like wasn't taught to tie my tie or, you know, change tires or any of that. And I kind of had to learn it on my own because my parents were kind of focused on their career. And my parents grew up, I grew up with my parents. They didn't they slept on opposite sides of the house. And the only interaction we would see, me and my 2 sisters, we would see was negative. So right when I left for college to Oklahoma, I did not speak to my parents, and they didn't speak to me either. So it was I could say in my youth, it definitely affected my relationships in a negative way, abusive wise, not physical, but I just thought it was normal. And like until I started healing, I didn't know that it was not normal to not like argue, you know. And I heard a lot of people by thinking that it was normal. So yeah, I would say I grew up off of survival, and I didn't really get shown any love.
Okay, that's understandable. And I
appreciate you.
I thank you for sharing that with us, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to Hurdle. All right. Miles, then Armed Swordsman.
Well, this is a fun topic. Everyone getting all deep. They always take the fun out of the show with their deepness. Okay, but here we go. I grew up with love. I like most of us, we all grew up in the hood, and we all grew up pretty had to defend for ourselves and stuff like that. My mother, around 98, she was worth at that time $9 million. So got me out of the hood immediately with her investment ideas that she did. And after that, I just pretty much grew up kind of like a bougie kid. I'm not gonna lie. Anything I wanted, I got. Dreams, I got. Where my fight had to come was my health. I've said my health many times on the show. So, not having advantages health-wise, I had to always be great. So I had to work twice as hard as every other kid just to keep up with everybody else. So when people, being 5'8", going to the basketball court and not getting picked, it's not that I couldn't play. It's just all the other kids were 6'3", 6'4". So I'm like, they keep constantly getting picked and I'm constantly waiting to play. So I'm like, the minute I get on and they're wondering, damn, why is this kid guarding us full court press, in a pickup? Because I don't want to get off the court. Like, I'm going to play hard because you're not going to pick me. So little things like that, I had to do it constantly. And that's what made me great. But as far as like from a parent standpoint, I mean, the only time I ever had to fight, like I said, was my health. I mean, you guys know my story about losing my sight and being blind. I literally, when I lost my sight after brain surgery, I fell. The first time I stood up after 60 days, I stood up for the first time and I fell down. And literally, my mom, she wanted to run to come and get me, but she knew, like, I can't do it. I got to let him do it on his own. And so she just sat there and just was knitting, and she just was like mumbling, like, please get up, because she's not coming to get me. And I had to figure out how to get up on my own. And it's hard when you haven't walked in 60 days. If you ever tried, it's not easy. It's really hard. But little things like that is the only survival that I ever had. But as far as from a financial point, I'm a spoiled kid. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Your mom and dad, they grew up hard, and they was like, we gotta get him out of this hood so he don't have to live like we did. And I got everything. My mom always said, she was a single mother. She said, I'll give you the same thing that these white kids got with 2-parent households. So I'm gonna give you the same thing that they got. So you can be great no matter what, even when I die. And shout out to my mom, she did pass away 3 years ago, and definitely left me a legacy. I'm still pushing through and doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm in a good position because of what my family did in the past. All of them too, the gangsters, the thugs, the pimps, and all them. They left a legacy for the new kids. We don't have to do much. We kind of sit back and just kind of reap the benefits a little bit. I know it's kind of sad to say it, kind of arrogance, but it is true though. But we still got to fight some way. We're still black people. We're gonna fight no matter what. So we're still in the same fight as everybody else. It doesn't change.
Right. Okay. My condolences to you, by the way, Miles.
Yeah, sorry for your loss, Miles.
Thank you.
But hey, shout out
I had
to
a great life. Me and
Oh,
her
go
had
ahead,
a great life. Our 30 years on this earth is equivalent to like 80 years. So it doesn't seem like it was short. We lived every moment to the fullest. So yeah, thank you.
That's what I like to hear. All right, shout out to Miles. Thank you for your transparency, big dog. Armed Swordsman.
Yeah, night again, everyone. So, love or struggle. Well, to be honest, I grew up out of love, but the struggle was there. So, it was like my parents, they definitely tried their best. They tried their best, they went above and beyond to ensure that I had a certain quality of life. But the struggle was there and it was evident. So, for me, the only reason I involved the struggle is because instead of them saying, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to be the one who take us out, it was me putting that responsibility on myself because I saw the situation. I was like, yeah, we can't be like, can't stay here. And thankfully, because I respect my parents so much because my dad was a hard worker and he pulled us out of that, and my mom supported him along the way. Both of them were supporting each other. So sometimes he was working and she was going to school, and she was working and he was doing a trade skill, you know, and they pulled us up. And I was trying, I always like, as soon as I can, I have to start contributing, I have to start helping, I have to pull my part. And because of that, honestly, there are things that I keep to myself because I remember nights when I know for a fact that they didn't eat and they were trying to give me food and I didn't want to eat it because I knew that they didn't eat. And so it's like there was just enough. And like sometimes like we share, or sometimes I'm hungry and I don't say anything. Or I remember a time where I went to school without lunch money and I was hungry that whole day. And I came, no, sorry, it wasn't that I went to school without lunch money. I went to school and I lost my lunch money. Right? And I was hungry that whole day and I came home and they thought I had ate, so they thought I was good. But I remember, and as I was telling you, my stomach was hurting me that night. And I legit did not say anything to anyone because I knew the circumstances. So it ended up causing me to grow up in a certain way where I have to ensure that they were okay, right? And I remember when I was going to college, because at this point I had given up, and honestly, I had given up on a lot of my dreams because I was saying the things that I wanted to do, it would take a long time to, you know, become successful, become good, and then become successful because I was into animation, I was into writing stories, right? And I'm living in Jamaica, and in Jamaica you have to go STEM or track and field if you're looking for success. Like everything else, it's going to be a slow grind. I know a lot of things are, but it's STEM and track and field. Those are sure ways, you know, in which you can move forward. So a lot of things that I really wanted to, I had to put those things aside just to ensure that I am at a position where I can help my parents, which thankfully, by the glory and praise of God, I am in such a situation right now. But it did take a lot of sacrifice, and because of that, a lot of times how I look at things is not how a lot of people look at things, because I am thinking, because a lot of my friends, you know, call me boring, past relationships as well has failed because I am very reserved and I keep things to myself. And a lot of times it feels like, they say from their perspective, it feels like I am putting up walls and boundaries and I'm not actually sharing my feelings, which is something I try my best to work on. And in my last relationship, I did the opposite, so I overshared. Because, right? So those are things those are ways in which it affects me, because when you're so used to keeping things to yourself just so your problems don't affect someone else, it becomes a habit, and if you consistently do it, then it's going to bleed into other relationships, right? So I became extremely reserved, and overall, like, my friends will be like, let's go here, let's do this, and I'm like, I can, but if I save this and then do this and then put that into that, you know, we can make the money speak a bit more. So, and I'm it's just sometimes it's hard and it's complicated because it's like you end up being that friend where it's like everything he's the one who shuts it down, right? He's the one who is standoffish, and sometimes it comes off as being, people say like, you think you're better than others, and it's really not that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really not that, but that's just how it affects me. And trust me, I've been working on it. As I said, last relationship, it seemed that oversharing, so I overcorrected the issue, and that caused a problem. So,
right,
yeah.
Okay, no, I felt that. Shout
Well,
out
we
to
appreciate you for sharing that. Yeah.
Mhm. Shout out to Armed. Lastly, we got El Dragon, the one who started this topic. Go ahead, big dog.
Hey, y'all can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone in the Vlog Talk or on YouTube for sharing your story. I very much appreciate everything everyone's been saying, and my condolences to everyone whether they face any type of struggle, death, or any type of adversity. I just really thank you for sharing. Part of survival, I think, that doesn't get talked about much is the pressure that gets put on you. I was raised on single mother. My older brother, he's learning disabled. He's special, so at the age of 7, I had to take on that older brother role while taking care of him, making sure he eats and he's good while my mom works because she was raising us by herself, while also taking care of my little sister because she's younger than me and she's like 10, or she was like 5 at the time. All that while doing my schoolwork. So for a very long time, common things that I've been told was, hey, you're going to be the savior for us. You need to make sure you get a good job, you make a good amount of money so you can take care of your brother and your siblings and everyone in your family. I've been hearing that for a long time, and I think that's part of survival because that puts in very, very extreme amount of pressure on you growing up. So from hearing that as a kid, it kind of gets into your mind that I can't fail. Like I have no choice but to succeed. And if I don't succeed, everyone goes down with me. And I've been trying to work on that for a very long time because I know that's not going to be the case. Whether I don't achieve a certain level or status, everyone's going to be okay.
Right.
So I feel that part of getting out of that survival mode is understanding that you are not alone. You're as strong as your village, and if you don't have a village, try to find people, whether it's immediate family or friends that become your family, that you can rely on or depend on, because it takes a village to raise people, and it takes a strong support system that's going to help you through any type of trial and error that comes in your life.
Okay.
Good job, El Dragon.
Shout out El Dragon. All right. I don't have another topic unless there was something that Alex had in mind. If that's it, I think that's a. If that's a.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that'd be an excellent place to stop it.
Yeah, let's go to the YouTube chat real quick. We had Miss Price. Miss Price said, "I was raised with both. Sadly for me, I was abused half of my life, but I was raised with a little bit of both." Miss Price, I thank you for sharing with that, and I pray for you, and I hope that the things that you went through don't have permanent effects on you, but if they do, I pray that the Spirit of God move throughout your life and give you the comfort or fill in the gaps that you need.
Man.
Demetrius said, "As I ponder on this question, I feel like I grew up with a mixture of both, but survival overtook the love." Okay. Deidre Cannon said, "Yay, I'm glad I made it in here. What's up, good people? Hey, how you doing?" D-Brick asks, "Can we really raise our children not to survive?" I would say that it's possible to raise your children not to survive, but at the current way the world's moving, I don't think that teaching them not to survive is the answer. Miles, you requested to speak.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Miles.
Hey, great show. I'm glad I caught it. I guess we're getting ready to close out, correct?
Yes.
I wanted to know if you guys wanted to close out on as far as, you know, when I look at Pop the Balloon, I like to find if I learned something about what's going on in our human development. So like, as far as Pop the Balloon, what did you guys notice as far as like the lineup and as far as the people? What was your overall like assessment on the fraudness and everything that we saw? Me personally, I noticed something on the show, but I want to know, what did you guys notice? I don't know if you want me to say it, or I don't know.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
you can say it.
Yeah, if Alex wanted to try and answer it, my overall.
No, honestly, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, my assessment of it is just, I don't even have an assessment, to be honest, because it's the same regurgitated like stuff. I feel like people aren't putting a lot of effort into much nowadays.
You know, yeah, I agree. It looks like the guys are doing their best to try to compete with the nonsense that the girls have been doing for a while, so they're trying to catch up. I guess they're wanting to show up and show out now, but it seems to me, when I looked at the people that were leaving versus the guys that were standing there, if you notice, it was the guys that were, I guess, quote unquote high value, quote unquote popular, you know. And I'm noticing that that's a big problem. If you notice, all the regular people were leaving with the women, and all the people who felt like they were better than everybody else was still standing there. And I think that's a problem that's happening as well. You know, I grew up where, you know, in high school, there was girls who thought they was too cool to hang with people. And then next thing you know, they're too cool to hang out with the people at the pool. They're too cool to hang out with the people at the party. Next thing you know, they find themselves all by themselves. So I think it's safe to say for men and women to stop thinking you're so above, you know, hanging out or being normal or thinking you're better than everybody else, because it's not cool. And it seemed like they were coming off like they were all just better, just so much more better, being that there are a lot of return people coming and they got a lot of views and eyes on them. You know, all of them, every last one of them felt like they was better. The fraud group, the four, Body, Snaggletooth, you know, Kermit the Fraud, and Cool Runnings. They all thought they was better, and it ended up being kind of goofy because they just stood there kind of goofy. So I think there's something to be said about stop being high, you know, stop being so top tier. I think the top tier thing is getting a little overrated amongst regular people. And I think that's what I kind of saw there.
No, I agree. The names is funny, bro. The names are funny.
I worked on that when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to lay on them. I'm gonna get in on them on the Flock Talk. Oh yeah, that whole group. And oh yeah, the girls ain't no different either. They're the duets too. You know, wasting everybody's time with Kuna and talk too much Kiani. Yeah, they're the same. They're part of the group too. I'm not gonna let them slide either. Both of them, the goofy too. So yeah, that's it. I was just wondering what y'all thought about the show as far as like the people and stuff.
I said it in the end of my reaction. I felt like the people who were left at the end demonstrated very clear reasons why they weren't picked. It also was a strong reflection of there was people who were genuinely there to seek love, who were there to actually look and observe and listen, and those were the ones that actually got picked out. It was the guys that were doing the extras. They were doing the most superficial thing. They were doing things out of character. Those ended up being the people that constantly got left out. So that was my perspective of it. I felt like everybody who didn't get a match didn't deserve a match. Like I said, even when we did our reaction, Red Suit, you were doing the most. All of a sudden, then like even his interactions towards the end, because he didn't get the one girl that he wanted the most out of everybody, he didn't give the proper energy of, oh well, I'm here to find love, I'm here to find this. All his reasons for popping on them were kind of like, what are you talking about reasons? James frauded up through the whole roof. It was disappointing to just even see that James did what he did, because I think he potentially could have got a match in this episode. Body wasn't doing too much, but then when Body started doing too much, it was like, all right, man, I'm getting tired of him. Dude in the Black, I genuinely felt like he wasn't there to actually find love at all. It just felt like he gave the same copy paste response to everything. If you look back at it, he gave the same responses to everything. oh, I didn't feel the initial attraction, I didn't feel the initial chemistry, I didn't feel this, I didn't feel that. And somebody made a good point. How are you guys expecting to feel high levels of chemistry in 5 seconds of you seeing somebody? You didn't hear them, you didn't talk to them, you didn't even get to look at them all the way. In 5 seconds, you're already like, nah, this won't work. You don't know that. So brown jacket, I thought he was cool. I thought he was doing his thing. He only said like 1 or 2 things that I was kind of like, all right, bro. But he didn't do that bad.
Hey, but KiteZz, let's be honest though, the snaggletooth that's sitting next to my man in the brown, you know, let's be real though. Let's talk about why he's there in the first place. He was there because the world felt sympathetic because he came the first time and everybody popped on him because he was a nice guy. And he was supposed to be the good guy. He was the Mr. Nice Guy who just wanted to have a good living for a future family and all this other stuff. So the world felt bad for him, just like the world felt bad for James, just like the world felt bad for Mr. Cool Runnings over there. You know, and then so when they bring him back, now they got a little bit of fame. Now they got a little bit of notoriety. See what happens when you get fame. See what happens when you get attention. See how things flip. It's funny how that happens.
Okay, no, that's a valid point. All right, Flock Talk's for the end after we let Steppa and Jules say what they say, and we're gonna wrap it up. Or well, I guess Tyler too. And with that note, boom, we have now closed the requests. So you 3 that are up here, you guys are the last people to speak on what Miles brung up, and then we can move on and end our day. So Steppa, go ahead.
Oh, I was actually gonna ask you a question. You want to ask a question?
Go ahead.
Oh, I can't ask now.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, you good.
Good.
Oh, so I was gonna say, do you guys feel like the men and women on the Pop the Balloon could be more honest on why they pop on a certain person, like for example, instead of them just saying like the same answers that everybody say on the line? Do you feel like they can be more honest or no? Or just
Alex, you can go ahead and answer that first, because I have an answer already.
I feel like they can be more honest, but it's not them not wanting to be honest. It's the fact that the audience doesn't want to hear the honesty, and it's how you word and how you say things with your honesty. I feel like a lot of times we're very sensitive to people's responses or rebuttals or explanations as to why they don't like someone or they don't find someone attractive. Just for example, the guy saying like, I only date dark-skinned women. I mean, it caused the uproar. He was being honest, but it sounds what it sounded like to other people. And then also I think because they get put on the, I guess, I don't know. I wouldn't say they're getting put on the spot, because it's a common question that's asked all the time. Like, well, why did you have to have a reason as to why you popped this person? And it has to be more than just like physical attraction. Okay, what physically about this person did you not find attractive to whether you felt like they weren't worthy of having a conversation or getting to know? Like, past the looks, there's nothing else worth talking to them over.
Or age.
You're right. An age or occupation or belief system or anything else. Okay, you go ahead and answer.
Truthfully, no, I don't think people on Pop the Balloon can be more honest. And it's just because the environment of Pop the Balloon and how big it's gotten, it has basically created this space where there are people are not able to differentiate the fact that you can be honest, but what comes with being honest is you have to be open to or acknowledge that there are going to be people that like what you say, and then there's going to be people that disagree with what you say. And because the internet is so active in disagreement of what people say, people have turned that into the concept of taking constructive criticism has been completely wiped out, to the point where that any type of bad feedback is condemning or judging or shaming. And so when you have that environment of the internet on certain things like this, no, people can't be truthful because in their minds, if I tell the truth of why I really popped, I'm going to be judged and condemned. So I'd rather just say the generic thing. And it's a double-edged sword now, because the people who tell the truth and they're truly honest with it are the ones that go viral for getting shamed. And then the people that keep it to the, oh, it's just initial attraction, oh, it's just the height, it's just the initial attraction, those are the ones that are getting martyred in the comments. So it's like, you see people and it's like, I would rather be martyred in the comments and instead of having a video drop. Like, people hate to see us drop when we do Pop the Balloon. There's people that as soon as they see the Pop the Balloon and they see that kites pop up, like, they immediately
immediately come with hate.
Yeah, they immediately, even though we say in our video, it's just opinion based off of what we're seeing. It's not opinion based on you as a person. And at the end of the day, we're reactors. The whole point of us doing our reaction is we're supposed to give raw, unfiltered idea, thought, or input and allow the audience to decide if they agree with that or not. That's the thing that makes reactors blow up or connect, is when your audience, when you guys can click on our video and be like, oh, I was waiting for Kite to say this and he said it. You know, that's the dopamine of it. Like, oh, he was thinking what I was thinking. You get what I'm saying? But the people, they don't know how to separate the fact that me and Alex called one dude stupid on a Pop the Balloon. That dude is not stupid. He's not stupid at any point. I don't know him. You get me? What I'm calling stupid is the action he did on the show. When I see people on Pop the Balloon, when you're on that show, you are now a performer. And if I think your performance is stupid, you did stupid on your performance. That doesn't mean you're stupid as a person. But it's because people don't know how to separate that. They take reactions and they go, oh, they really felt this way about me. Oh, they really meant this. Oh, the internet really hates me. And the sad part is, somebody said to me, the key to the internet is let it go 3 days straight. Let whatever problem happens, let it go 3 days straight, and then it'll die out. And it'll generally just die out. People lose focus, they lose interest in 3 days. But because of that, because people don't know this, they don't know how to do this, it creates a space where you can't be authentic. Like I said in one of our reactions, I said, I would rather you tell me the whole honest truth of why you rejected it and let me go off on you for how I don't like it. Because at least I have something to disagree with, but I still have no choice but to respect this is the decision you make. Versus you sit here and give me something you think is gonna be satisfying for me to hear, but then we do a catch up and you lied. But that's just my take on it.
Right.
Man, honestly, I kind of feel like it's literally a trend to like literally say the same answers over and over and over on literally every single Pop the Balloon show. To be honest, I feel like it's just a trend because a lot of people just ran out of like answers and they most likely just don't want to say it, or probably just don't want to get canceled for it, you know, or get embarrassed. Just like you said.
Yep. Yeah, it's the safest response.
Literally.
All right, shout out to Stepper. Jules, I don't think you're submitting. Okay, Jules, and then Tyler, and then we close off.
Alrighty. Honestly, I completely forgot what we were even talking about. So, can someone repeat it for me?
Well, I mean, Miles just asked. He just asked truly about the fraudulent behaviors.
What did you learn from this episode?
Yeah, like what did you initially learn from this Pop the Balloon episode?
Honestly, I learned, or one thing I did learn from this week's episode in particular, is that frauds are gonna fraud. People are gonna be fraudulent about their takes and their reasons on why they popped. And kind of like what you said, my thing is, I don't know the full context of why you popped, because I don't know you in particular. But if you popped for X amount of reasons and you said that on the show and then come out on the catch up and say something completely different, then it's like, how can I trust you?
Right.
Right.
Because then that tells me, oh, you just at this point you're tweaking.
Right.
Yeah, that's really about it. And I guess.
Hey, shout out to Jules. All right, Tyler, you're the last person to speak. We can end this off. So.
Pretty much I learned that a lot of people that come on Pop the Bloom, they're not looking for love.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that from this episode and the previous episode, they're not really looking for love. They just want to just clout chase and do other things, but they're not really looking for love. And also I realized that if you're not 6'2" and up, yeah, then you won't get a match. Which is sad, but as you said, Kai, like the Short Kings at one point were losing, then they started winning, and now it's going back to them losing because they're not 6'2" and up. So I just feel that like a lot of people that come on that, they're not looking for love. The party's looking for exploring their business or other things, but as you say, and as BM said, the whole point of the show is to look for love. And I just find a lot of them, they're not looking for love. So
Right.
that's why I want to answer the gentleman's question.
Okay.
Shout out to Tyler. Thank you for your patience, by the way. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. With that note, I would like to thank everybody for coming out to this wonderful, wonderful Flock Talk. I appreciate everybody for taking time out of their day to come have the conversation. I also thank everybody who was open and transparent about, you know, their upbringing, because I know it takes a lot. Some people that probably open up memories that you didn't want, and I pray that God gives you guys comfort in you guys' spaces. Before I go, I'm gonna read these last little couple comments, and then Alex, you can say what you gotta say. Wes can say what he gotta say, and then we can end it off. Miss Price said, "Thank you."
Right.
She said, "I need a village." Hey, the Bible, Jesus said, "Who is my mother and who is my brother?" Right? Meaning that you can have family in any place. You can have it in any place as long as you know you're pursuing after the will of God and you guys are seeking understanding. You can fellowship in any place. I consider Kite and Alex and the whole flock as a village because I went through life and everything so alone, and I don't have a lot of friends like that for real. Hey, same boat. I've had the same 3 best friends my whole life, and as I became an adult, they disappeared. So it is what it is. But you know what? At the end of the day, you find community where you can. Mecca said, I missed a bit of the part that was talked. I was raised on a hypercritical and very dismissive parents. Survival for me is more disassociating from the overwhelming pressure in total. I appreciate y'all, and there is warmth, kindness, compassion, and empathy in this space. I love y'all for real. Hey, shout out to you, Mecca. I hope everything's okay with you, man. He also said fairness needs to be brought back to the forefront. I agree 1000%. With that note, D Brick said they're scared of the internet towards Miles's statement, which I agree, which is ironic because we go to the internet, but we're scared of the internet. Deidre said, you guys always say what I'm thinking. Hey, that's just the connection. Miss Price said, it's true, you guys are, but you are always on point. Hey, we try to be. So with that note, family, Chill Vibe said family with a heart. Hey, we love you too. With that note, I thank you guys. Alex, if you have anything to say.
Other than like good discussion, appreciate you guys for tuning in. There will be some changes happening to the Flock Talk channel. It might get changed into like more of like a forum type thing, just so we can have more topics and stuff like that. If there are other topics you guys want to talk about outside of Pop the Balloon, you're more than welcome to do so. Just post it in the Flock Talks channel. We do
Y'all
want to try
should
to
diversify y'all portfolio. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Diversify your portfolio because we're not about to keep beating the same dead horse, bro. Like, I know Pop the Balloon be the main thing, but I would like to expand the intellectual capacity of the group, meaning a relationship, this, that, the third. Let's expand, please. I beg.
Right. So we want to open up the space more to do a little bit more fun stuff. If you guys are interested in probably doing like a trivia night or a game night, or do something different as far as like we talk about games or movies or anime or anything that's like pop culture, as long as it's within the guidelines of the Flock Talk rules, because some stuff we got to censor out for the sake of we're posting it on YouTube, and you know those things are we don't want to get copyrighted. But yeah, so any other topics you guys want to talk about, you're free to, you know, put in the channel. If it's something controversial or something too touchy for us to talk about, we'll let you know. That way you have time to change your topic or try to find something else. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Check the newsletter for any upcoming announcements or any changes that's going to happen to the Flock Talk channel. And other than that, appreciate y'all.
All right, Wes, anything else you want to say?
Nope. Y'all have a great night. Have a great weekend. Be blessed, for real.
All right, guys. With that note, we love you guys. I want you guys to be safe out there. Don't do nothing reckless. And just, you know, at the end of the day, have a great night, all right? And this concludes our Flock Talk.